Hi everyone. This time we are talking about in-text citations. First of all, please remember that you need to cite every piece of information you are quoting, paraphrasing, or summarizing. And also remember that APA is an author date system. In the text, you write the author's surname, give the date, and on your reference list, do the same. Your reader will find that source with reference to the writer's surname. Here are some of the points you need to know while you're making your in-text citations. Let's start with some what-if situations. What if there is no author? If it is an organization, instead of the author, you will cite the organization's title. You will write the title in full. And on your reference page, this is how you're going to show that source. As you see, once again, what you got here in reference to the source will be the first thing you give on your reference list together with the date. See, this is an author date system. If there is no organization, there is no writer, then you simply refer to the title of the source in the article, in your paper. This is how you write the title. Please see here. This is how you write the title. You write the title in quote marks. You write it in title case, every first letter capital. You leave the comma inside the quote and give the date later. And this is how the source will be given on your reference list. Remember, when you are writing the title of the article on your reference list, this is how you write it. You write it in sentence case and with normal font. Let's move on with what if situations. If there is no publication date, what's going to happen? If there is no publication date, you need to say ND in parentheses. This is the case in the text, and this is what you're going to do on your reference list as well. This is an author date system. Even if there is no date, you need to indicate it. You need to give ND to show that there is no date. APA requires page numbers to be given when you make quotes. In paraphrases and summaries, it is not a requirement. You can check it with your instructor. And if there is no page but paragraph numbers, you can give the paragraph number like this. You write para with a full stop and you give the paragraph number if there are paragraph numbers. If there is no page number or paragraph number, if there is no information, you don't write anything. If you are referring to only one page, this is how you show it with P and dot, and you give the page number. If it is more than one page you are referring to in the text or on your reference page, this is how you write the page numbers. You write P, and dot, then give the page range. In your in-text citations, you will give the citations in two ways. If you like, you can give the citation information at the end. With quotes, as I said, giving the page number is a requirement, if there is a page number, of course. And this is how you give the information in parentheses. You give the surname, writer's surname first, then the year, then the page number. The rule is the same for a paraphrase and summary. As you see, it is only the surname and year. If unless your instructor requires otherwise. With paraphrases and summaries, APA does not require page numbers to be given. It is also possible to give the source information at the beginning of your citation. You can start your sentence with the writer's surname, and again, you need to give the year next to it. The rule is very simple. It's an author date system. These two cannot be separated. The writer's surname and year always together, here and here, as you see. And if it is a quote, when there is a page number, you give the page number at the end. And this is how the punctuation works. If there is a parenthetical information at the end of your citation, the punctuation for that sentence given at the end of the parentheses here. You see, only here. If you like, you can also give the page number together with the year. That is also acceptable. If your citation ends with a quotation, you need to leave the punctuation mark inside the quotation. The rule is the same with a paraphrase and summary. As you see, the only difference is you're not giving page numbers unless your instructor requires otherwise. So this is a simple rule to remember. If there are two writers, if you're giving the information in parentheses, this is how you give the information. You give the first surname, use an ampersand and give the second surname. With a comma, you give the year and then you give the page number. If you like, again, you can give the citation in the beginning of your sentence. If this is the case, you don't use ampersand, you use the word and. The rule is very simple. In the text, only in parentheses we use ampersand. Outside the parentheses, we always use and. Remember, we use ampersand on reference page as well. If it is 3 to 6 writers, when you cite it for the first time according to APA 6th edition, this is how you do it. First surname, second surname, and the third one, all separated with a comma. And when you are adding the last one, you add a comma and use an ampersand when you give it at the end in parentheses. The rule is the same. When you give the source information at the beginning of your sentence, you're not using ampersand. Instead, you use the word, and this is how you do it. When you cite a work written by 3 to 6 writers for the second time, you can use at all. At all in Latin means and the others, and this is how you write it in parentheses. You write the first surname and add at all with a dot and then put a comma, give the year and page number when it is a quote. If you like, you can do the same. If you like, you can start with the source information. You can put it in your sentence, and if this is the case, once again, you write the surname and you write at all, and then you give the year. If it is 6 or more writers, APA 6th edition requires that you give it with at all. You write the first writer's surname only and write at all, right from beginning with your first citation. Then you give the year and page number, and this is how you do it if you are giving it in the beginning of your citation. If you are using a secondary source, it's always a better idea to use the original source, but if you have to use a secondary source, this is how you do it. First of all, start your citation with the writers of the original idea. Give the writers at the beginning. You don't have to give when they said so, when the study was done or when it was published, unless you really need to. And this is important. So this study is done by those people. This is what I'm talking about here in this citation. So I start my citation with reference to those authors, and in the end, in parentheses, I say as cited in, and I give the source I got in my hand. You see, this is the source I will share on my reference list. Okay, this is the source I got in my hand. I'm referring to the source which cited this information. As I'm using this information from this secondary source, I start my citation with reference to the original owner of the idea, and in parentheses I say as cited in, and I give the source on my reference list. And here is everything together. If you just get stuck, if there is a situation we haven't talked about, here is the summary. You can always refer to this page to just check whether you are doing it correctly. Just be aware how it happens if you're citing for the first time from that source. If you're doing a second or third time citation, what happens if you put it in parentheses at the end? What happens if you just give it in your sentence? Everything is summed up here. You can always refer to this page if you like. You might be citing tables or figures, and for this purpose, please refer to this page to understand how you do it properly. You need to give a number to your tables. You need to give the table with its number at the top. And after you cite the table, after you share the table, with this saying note, you need to just write the source of information. Please be aware that with tables, APA requires full information about the source, and this information will also be shared on your reference page. So be aware, tables and figures are done differently, and you need to make sure you will remember this. You remember this when you are making a reference to a table or a figure. Look at this. If you are citing a figure, this time you're not giving the figure number at the top in APA 6th edition. You give the figure and its number here in italics, and like in the tables, you give the full information about the source. You first define what it is, and then you give the full information about the source underneath. Please be aware there is a different order, and this information will also be shared on your reference page in the reference page source entry order. You can see APA format in 4 minutes here. If you are required to write APA in APA format with running heads, everything, you can watch this video and see it here. If you want to learn more about how to cite tables and figures, you can visit this link. And if you want to learn more about, if you just cannot find the answer to your question here about in-text citations, you can visit Purdue University page to get the idea to learn better about the in-text citation. And good luck with your writing.